Cooking and serving good food, that's my love language. And I get asked a lot about how I learned to cook and why I cook so much. The short answer is that I love it, and when you love to do something, you keep doing it, and with practice, you get better at it, and it's only as complicated as you make it. In this video, I'll fill you in on a few tips that'll help you on your cooking journey, whether you're just beginning, don't know how to start, or you just have a ton of experience and want to see how I get it all done. So let's put on our aprons and head into the kitchen. I'm SB, and this is SB Living. First and foremost, make it a priority. When something's a priority, you naturally make time for it. And when you make time for it, there's a higher chance that you'll get a positive outcome. So if you really want to start cooking at home, set aside some time. Block it out in your calendar. Label it. Cook dinner. There are so many things that happen in life and so many interruptions. It's easy to get distracted, and before you know it, you're too tired or it's too late, and boom, there goes dinner out the window. So if cooking and serving regular meals is not already a part of your current routine, don't worry. Habits take a few days or even weeks to develop, so take some time, but create some space for it, and more space than you think. You're learning here, so give yourself room to experiment and make a few mistakes. And then after a while, you'll get to know which meals take an hour and which ones take 20 minutes. And when I only have a few minutes, a pasta dish like you see here is what I put on the table. This round of pasta has butternut squash and peas, and it's all tossed together with some cheese for a simple but filling and healthy meal. Over the years, I've developed what I call meal formulas, or combinations of food that almost always turn out good. One of these formulas is something like this, tossing pasta with whatever vegetables are in season and a grating of cheese. It's the same process no matter what vegetables or pasta shape I use, and I find that the little shells are great with peas because they get stuck in the curves of the pasta. It's easy, everybody likes it, I don't break a sweat making it, and I feel good about putting another meal on the table. And just because something is quick and easy doesn't mean you have to skimp on it either. I'm always adding some fresh parsley or any other greens to a dish, and of course, some tomatoes we've been picking out in our garden. There's no reason not to bring some freshness if you're able, and at the very least, that helps you feel like you made something special. Next, know what you like and know what your family likes and stick to those things. If you have to start somewhere, start safe. If you're on a journey to eat healthier or need to change your diet in any way, start small. Cooking isn't a chore, it's an experience that you get to enjoy every day. The less you see it as a chore and the more you get to enjoy the food you love, the better you will feel about cooking in the first place. For example, this chicken Parmigiana I'm making. My husband loves Italian-American food. And when he married me, someone who loves to cook, he thought Italian-American food was what he was going to get every night. And little did he know, I didn't grow up eating anything remotely related to what you would find in an Italian-American restaurant. But I love my husband, and I want to make him happy, so I learned how to make all the things. My only requirement was that it had to be a healthy version. So there you go. Practice makes perfect. And now every so often, we have a chicken Parmigiana. The steps are pretty easy, and I'd made a previous video where I show how I made the cutlets themselves, or what we call cotoletta, and it's just dropping the chicken breast in flour, then egg, and then breadcrumbs into a hot skillet with oil. I find the thinner the chicken breast, that's filleted, the better, since they cook faster and prevents a lot of burning, even though I can't seem to not burn them just a little bit. The changes I made to the standard version of any Parmigiana is that I made a light marinara sauce where I just cooked down some tomatoes with garlic and oil and then spooned it over the individual cutlets. I then layered a few slices of mozzarella on top, topping it all off with the rest of the marinara, and then popping it in the oven for the cheese to melt. Once that's done, it's time to eat. My family also loves a fresh, crunchy salad, and so whenever there's something heavy being made, I'm always chopping up some crunchy veg to serve on the side. They also love eating fennel, or what we call finocchio, which I started growing this year on my own. It's a pretty standard vegetable in Italian cooking. It's also called anise, and it's where the licorice flavor and anise seeds come from. But it doesn't taste like licorice when it's raw. It's like a cross between celery and a cucumber. It's fresh, it's super crunchy, and it also does a pretty good job settling your stomach. So whenever we're able to get it, it goes in the salad. And so that's just another example of knowing what you like, knowing what your family likes, and sticking to what makes everybody happy. My next tip is to make use of what you have. How many times have any of us complained that we don't have anything to eat in the house? Meanwhile, the whole fridge and cabinets are full of food. I know sometimes you just need a change in routine. I get it. Same for me. But in the end, if you have a couple of ingredients, you can always put something together. In this case, I'm making turkey meatballs and roast potatoes, both in the air fryer. Simple, quick, and minimal. I always have a few pounds of ground meat in the freezer, and I like to switch it up between ground turkey, ground beef, and a meatball mix I like to get from the butcher, which is a mix of beef, pork, and veal. As long as you have ground meat, you can make dinner. Meatballs are one of my girls' favorites, and when they find out there's meatballs for dinner, everybody's happy. Potatoes cook up really well in the air fryer, and they get so nice and crispy. These purple potatoes came from a batch that I grew this year on our patio. We had some grow bags, and what's so cool about having unique ingredients is that you don't have to do too much to them to make them feel special. I mean, it's a purple potato. How cool is that? Olive oil, salt, pepper, and fry them up in the air fryer. They are so cool on their own, and the girls think they are magical. air fryer is probably one of the few kitchen gadgets that I swear by. And not only does it cut down on cooking time, but for things like those potatoes I just made or these meatballs, it does such a better job than the oven. It also doesn't heat up the entire house like the oven would because I didn't add a ton of oil to the potatoes. I'm not even gonna go bother cleaning the air fryer before popping in the meatballs. They're gonna go in on their own, and in another 20 minutes, we will have a kid-friendly and mom-friendly meal. This Swiss chard has been in the fridge for a few days since I made a big harvest outside. And again, what does my family like? They like their greens. So instead of spinach, which we have all the time, this Swiss chard makes for something different, but it's cooked just the same way. I'm going to be cutting through a mountain of Swiss chard, which you will see soon will amount to about a quarter of its size in the pan. A garlicky pan of greens like this is really nice next to crispy potatoes and crunchy meatballs. Last, know your why. I know that sounds pretty deep for a video that is meant to tell you how to start cooking at home. But you know what? All the pots and pans and gadgets in the world won't help as much as you knowing why you want to spend the time cooking in the first place. As a matter of fact, less is more here. You don't need much in the kitchen to put food on the table every night. And so, know why you want to put in the time and energy. Is you're wanting to start cooking at home for health reasons, as a hobby because you want to learn a new cuisine, or is it for family reasons to make sure everybody is together at some point every day? Is it all of the above? Whatever it is, nothing is worth doing unless you have a firm grasp of why you want to do it in the first place. And there's a reason why I'm explaining all of this while I'm making lentil soup. Lentil soup, or lenticchia, as we call it in my family. This right here is what got me into cooking. This soup was everything to me growing up, from the wonderful aroma to how it filled up my belly, to watching how my mother and my grandmothers would make it, knowing that everything in this soup was good for you, body and soul. This was the first thing I learned how to cook, and will probably be the last meal I would ever eat. This right here, I make a good lentil soup. All kinds of ways. I can never go wrong when making this soup. So do you have a dish that you feel the same way about? I bet you do. Share below what it is. Everybody has their dish that they just know lifts their spirits. And so when you know why you want to spend the time cooking, and you know what you like, and you make time for it, you are well on your way to becoming the home cook you always wanted to be. More seasonal cooking videos are coming your way, so don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss them. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.